Salve, amici, and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Vergil's third Eclogue, lines of 84 through 89. But first, last time in Vergil's Eclogue, a lot of pages to get through. Here's our rubric. Let's go ahead and get started. Filida amo ante aleos, nam me discedere flevit, et longum formoso vale, inquit iola. Triste lupus stabulis, maturis frugibus imbres, ad boribus venti, nobis amarilidis irae. Dolce satis humor, de pulsus arbutus haedis, lenta salix feto pecori, mihi solus amintas. So now we have a interesting set. We're finishing off the Phyllis-Iollas rivalry, and then we're moving on to some mirror image pastoral language there. But to begin with what Menalcas says, philida, with that A, we know this is going to be the Greek form accusative singular feminine for Phyllis. And then amo is the first principal part. Pretty easy. One of the first verbs that most people learn. So I like or I love. Phyllis, ante prepositional phrase with alias, as. Nam starts a new clause, so that closes the prepositional phrase there. Ante taking the accusative because of the as there. And this is plural feminine, and I'm almost out of ink. Sorry. So I like Phyllis before all other, specifically women. And then nam, me, for. Me is not the right form to be subject. It's either ablative or accusative, so we need to move on. Discedere with that ere is going to be a present active infinitive, not indicative. And then here we have our verb, flevit, it for our personal ending. This is fluo, fluere, flewi, I believe. No. Fleo, flere, flevi. Yeah, fluo is a different verb. That shows up next page. So this one is going to be third, singular, perfect tense, active, and indicative, and it means to weep, to cry, and discedere means to depart, to separate, to decamp, so to tear down a military camp. So then for somebody weeps, and then with the me discedere we have for real this time an indirect statement for just these two. Somebody weeps that I depart. So when somebody has, it should be somebody has wept that I depart. Depart at the same time. No, because present would put it into the, I don't know. Sequence of tenses. Moving on, et longum, so we have the U in there, but we don't know what to do with that without greater context around it. The commentary has put in the quote marks, which makes sense, because formosa with the E is going to be vocative, singular, masculine, and as we've seen before, it means handsome. And then wale, wale, wolo, wele, wolui, this is the word that's used for farewell, but it means be strong, be strong. And then inquit is a verb of speaking, and now normally inquit has to have part of what is the direct discourse appear before and the other part after it. So, at least for Perseus, they have included the quote marks around Yola. Yola there being nominative or vocative, singular, masculine. That guy, we couldn't really tell who he was, possibly from poison or arrow. Possibly a master, who knows. But Perseus has put quote marks around there. The green and yellow Cambridge suggests that there are two different ways of reading this. We could read this as vocative. So it's, what are the two options? It's possibly Menalcas responding almost mockingly to Demoitas as though he were Phyllis. So, Demoitas, I love Phyllis more than all other women, for she cries when I depart. And then Iolaus speaking, farewell, farewell, handsome youth, in which case this would be nominative. Or he's just responding as himself and saying farewell to Iolaus, who would then not be a master, but instead be another one of the servants, slaves. I don't know. So I will try to fit in both. I forgot to actually say what Longham is doing here. There's nothing for it to modify, and it's functioning adverbially. So for a long time, either she says or Iolaus says this. Moving on into the next pattern that we get. Triste from tristis, triste. This is functioning as a substantive. So our three options with that E, substantive neuter I should say, are nominative, vocative, or ablative, singular, neuter. We can't really determine what until we know more about what's going on here. But then for lupus, with the US, you got the nominative, singular, masculine, and then stabulus. This comes from stabula, stabula, stabulum. No, that's not right. I forgot to look the nominative form up. Half a minute. Sorry about that. So stabulus comes from stabulum. There we go. So it's neuter. The options are dative or ablative plural, and it's going to be dative, as we'll see from what comes after. But for now, I'll write both of them down. We still don't know what to do with the triste. We have a variety of options. It's not going to be nominative, not going to be vocative because we've got the nominative lupus. It can't be the nominative, and can't be the vocative with lupus because this is the wrong form of lupus to take a vocative. Though sometimes the US appears as a vocative form, but still this is the neuter ending, whereas lupus is masculine. So no verb, no context yet. We have to move on. Maturis, is right there. This is a adjective, so we need to take a look at the next word, which is frugibus, with ibus, confirming for us that this is is a dative or ablative plural. This is frux, frugus, so fruit, and it is feminine, dative, ablative, plural, feminine again. And then imbres with the es, that's going to be nominative or accusative plural. And I want to say masculine. That's another one that I forgot to look up. And this one means reigns. Oh, and stabulus, stable is the word that we get from there, where you keep horses. So it's a habitation, dwelling place, an abode. Mature, of course. Still not enough context. We continue on. Arboribus, another ibus, another dative or ablative plural. And this one's feminine. All trees are always feminine. Arbor. And then venti. Initially this looks like venio, venire, veni, ventum. But in fact this is from ventus, venti, the word for wind. So then we have nominative, plural, masculine, wind. Still no verb. So then we move on yet again. Nobis, dative, ablative, plural, common, but in this case it's going to be Demoitus Menalcas, or possibly Demoitus Phyllis. I think Demoitus Phyllis makes a lot more sense, especially since we've got Eiride right there. We know we want a nominative because we've had a nominative in each of the previous clauses, and Amarilades is the wrong form with that is. She is genitive, singular, feminine. So then this is nominative, plural, feminine, being owned by Amarilades, still no verb. So then what's going on? Well, what has to be going on is that triste is explaining each of these situations, with the noun being the actor, and then the dative ablative being a dative in every case, being the recipient of that actor. So sad, sadly, a wolf to habitation, rains to mature fruit, wind, this is trees or fig trees, so So the wind hits the figs, they're going to fall down, or the tree might fall down. And then Amaryllis's angers, wraths to us. Then we get into Malchus, where he responds in the same format. So we get Dulce, same form as Triste, so that's going to be, nominative, not either of those. Nominative, singular, neuter. Then satis is going to be dative, or dative, again, not dative or ablative, though its form looks dative or ablative. And this is from sato, to sow, seed. So then dative, plural. I don't remember what seed is. I think it's neuter. Newt, question mark. And then perfect passive participle. Well, umor is nominative, singular, masculine, and umor is moisture, liquid. Depulsis, is, of course, are dative, plural. And then what gender is it? Well, we have to take a look at hydis. Hydis is another one where I forgot to write down the nominative. I'm forgetting to write down the nominative every time, but with the is, it's probably going to be us. So depulsus, hydus. That means young goats, dative, plural, masculine. So masculine there as well. And then arbutus is a strawberry tree. Apparently this is a fruit-growing tree that's prolific in Italy, but we don't know it here in the States, and or at least I don't know it here. And the fruit's not supposed to be that great, which is probably why I didn't make it overseas. But arbutus, nominative, singular, feminine, because all trees are feminine. Yep. And then moving on to the next one, lenta salix. These two go together quite clearly because the X can only be in the nominative form in this case. And this is nominative, singular, feminine, because it's another tree. It's a willow tree. And then feto pecori, that's going to be our dative, singular, neuter. And this is pecus pecoris, so animal, cattle. We're not going to do cattle because that would be a whole herd of them. With feto, instead, it's going to be referring to a single one, so baby cattle. And lenta is pliant, flexible, which is what willows are. And I think the idea there is shade for the newborn animal. And then mihi, dative, singular. Common, solus, nominative with amintas, Greek nominative, singular with the as. And all of these are sweet, nominative to the dative. There we have all of our translation. Let's go ahead and take a look at it in its own context. I like Phyllis before other women, for she weeps that I depart, and long, handsome one, farewell, farewell, she says, O Iola. Or, for he weeps that I depart, or maybe still she weeps, and long, handsome one, farewell, farewell, says Iolus. I don't know. Sadness, a wolf, two abodes, two homes, to mature fruits rains, to fig trees winds, to us Amaryllis's angers. Sweetness to newly sown seed, moisture. To weaned kids, sorry, I forgot to tell you what that meant, strawberry tree. Flexible willow to baby animal. To me alone, amintas. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a very good day.